Good morning, class. How are all of you? I hope very well. Today we have a class on something. It's kind of a sensitive subject, but it's definitely something that's definitely worth going over. Um, just to kind of, make sure that beyond what your rights are, there are different types of things that go on. And so we're doing a class on types of abuse and abuse that happens sometimes to individuals that are developmentally delayed. And so we need to go over how you know if what you're experiencing is a type of abuse. And so, like I said, it's a sensitive subject. I'm going to go over everything, but I want you to contact me with any questions that you have about this. I mean, if there's anything that, I don't go over well enough, or if you have questions about, like, well, such and such happened to me, is this a type of abuse? I want you to let me know. And, that'll kind of be the second part of our class, just, to go over together a little bit more whether or not, what's going on would be a type of abuse. But there are several different types. And so, we have our paperwork here to go over it. And I want you to, and if you don't feel comfortable talking to me about it, you can always talk to your case manager. There are several places you can reach out to. This is going to go over kind of in detail what to do in each instance. So let's get started. So the different types of abuse that there are well, there's a type called physical abuse. So if you can think of anything there, please let me know if it doesn't go over. But physical abuse can be in the form of slapping, punching, grabbing, kicking, shoving, pulling hair, choking, scratching, pinching, or hitting with objects. So just remember, sometimes when we're at program, that not everybody enjoys being played around with, and they might feel a little more sensitive about the whole thing, and so it's best to maybe stay away. When it's a good friend and you joke around with them, that's one thing, but when you joke around with everyone, we're not all the same people. Some people really don't enjoy being touched at all. But again, there's slapping, punching, grabbing, kicking, and these are more like really physical, like shoving types of abuse. So, we want to be mindful of everyone and ourselves when it comes to abuse. Another type of abuse is financial abuse, which does unfortunately happen quite a bit. So this could be in the form of using or taking a person's money without permission, taking personal belongings without permission, taking money from bank accounts, missing SSI funds, and not following someone to spend money as he or she wants. And this is one of those things where you need to be very careful. If somebody, especially a staff member, asks you for money and you really don't want to give them money, it is your right to say no to that, like we went over in the last one. It's your money, and that is a form of financial abuse. If you give it willingly because that's what you want to do, and say, hey, I'm just going to give this to you, that's one thing. But if they're asking you for money, pay for this for me, that can be a form of financial abuse, because again, it's your money, and that money could be probably better spent put in the bank, or something like that. So be wary of that. And you always have the right to say no. Say no, I don't want to do that. There's also sexual abuse, and different types of this are, as examples, forcing a person to engage in sexual acts, forcing a person to look at sexual images, pornography, a person exposing him or herself, unwanted touching, denying a person privacy while showering or dressing, taking nude photos without person's permission, and of course, sexual assault and rape. I've encountered a lot of these in my time, and it's something that I take very, very seriously. It's if anything goes on that you just feel is really inappropriate, you really need to bring it up and let someone know, because any of these are wrong. And it goes for everyone. It goes for us at program and you as program as well. I mean, I've had an instance where people have been watching pornography at the Hercules Library, and I was approached by the staff at the library, and they said, this is what happened. If it happens again, unfortunately, you won't be allowed to stay here, because it is a type of sexual abuse. Like, other people could be around seeing that. And first of all, you shouldn't, be doing that there. That's a very private thing to be doing, not in a public place at all. And so, it's something that we all need to take very seriously, but we all need to make sure that we're keeping each other safe, and we don't want to be doing anything that's inappropriate or possibly harmful to others. Another type of abuse is neglect. And neglect can fall into this: not providing nutritious and adequate amounts of food, not keeping a person safe from safety and health risks, not assisting person with personal care needs, not scheduling doctor and dentist appointments, not filling prescriptions, and not providing adequate shelter. So a lot of this happens, and again, it's something that you should definitely report to your program manager. And if your program manager isn't exactly sure what to do about it, they'll talk to the program coordinators, and try to get it taken care of as well as possible. But families can be contacted and things like that, but case managers as well. And we want to make sure that everybody is safe from neglect. Another type of abuse is isolation, which would be locking a person inside a room or outside of the house, not allowing a person to make or receive phone calls, not allowing a person to receive or send mail or emails, and not allowing a person to have visitors. And again, like we went over with personal rights, that's a violation of all of them. I mean, all of these are a violation of your rights if it's happening to you. But just what we went over, it's something that again, let people know, and let your voice be heard with that. And the last type on this one is emotional abuse, which would be yelling, threatening, swearing at, ridiculing, or insulting, threatening loved ones or friends or pets. And that's true. Like, be nice to our, to each other. And ridiculing or insulting. We need to be careful with that. It is a type of emotional abuse. It's also what I would say would fall under also psychological abuse, because people remember that, and people can sometimes harm themselves because of what other people have said. So, be wary of what you say, but also be very wary what other people say to you. I would say to make sure that you stand up for yourself. Make sure that you tell somebody, hey, I don't like what you just said. I don't like how you're talking to me. It's important for you to stand up first with all of these and say, this is not okay with me. And then when it doesn't stop, or if it doesn't stop, then you definitely need to reach out. Honestly, you should do both. Let the person know this is not okay with me, and then let somebody else know. Because somebody might be like, oh, well, no, it's not so bad, and, it's not really that much of a forgiving thing. So, because it's abuse, and the more the better. Let your family know. Definitely let your program managers know. And whoever you're comfortable talking to know that this is something that I am not comfortable with, and this is what happened. It's important because there are some things that are, abuse goes way beyond inappropriate. Abuse goes into a whole different category, obviously. It's a much more, it can be much more damaging, or it is much more damaging. Okay, so we got more. Okay, so this is say no to abuse. Again, you have the right to say no. And, it goes more into kind of what we've already talked about, but it goes a little more into detail. And like I said, whatever questions you have for me, please let me know. So, that's it. Abuse is wrong. Say no to abuse. Say no. There are lots of different types of abuse. Emotional abuse. Again, when people make you feel bad and call you names, laugh at you, blame you, shout at you, ignore you, treat you like a child, or make you feel worthless. And when that's going on, it's a type of abuse, and it should be reported. And then there's discrimination, which wasn't covered as much under the last one. So discrimination is when people make you feel bad because you are different. For example, because you have a different skin color, are disabled, have a different religion, are gay, are older, or lots of other reasons. I can think of one right now. When it comes to transgender individuals, people, there's a lot of abuse that's going on there where people don't understand and haven't really looked into it, and people are very harsh. So if you think of anything else, let me know. Like if you know of other things that go on. But there's lots of types of discrimination based on what's honestly none of other people's business. You deserve to be who you are and how you want to be. Neglect can happen if you are put in danger, or when you do not get the right medical care, the right to support to wash and dress properly, enough food, or enough heating. A lot of that is, household wise, but the medical care one is very important. And again, make sure that you let people know if you're having a medical issue, and let your family know. And if you're not getting that care, let staff know. And we will do our best to rectify the situation, make sure that you get the proper care that you need. Like I said, a lot of these we've gone over, so I don't want to go over it too fast, though, because this is important. Financial abuse can happen when someone takes your money, does not let you decide how your money is spent, or makes you pay for other people's things. Like I said, we went over that pretty well. There's sexual abuse, again. Can happen when someone makes you do sexual things that you do not like, makes you have sex with them, makes you touch them, touches you in places you do not want them to, makes you watch others having sex. And unfortunately this happens a lot more than you would think. But please let people know if somebody's putting you in that situation. There's physical abuse, which can happen when someone hurts your body, including hitting, kicking, pulling, pinching, shaking. Shaking is a big one. A lot of people, grab people and just kind of shake them, and it's not good. Okay. So now we're going to go over who might abuse you. So, who might abuse you? Anyone could abuse you. It could be someone you know well, someone paid to help you, or a stranger. And you never know. I mean, you do know when it's happening, but it's good to be aware of each person and how they're treating you when it comes to this. So where can abuse happen? Abuse could happen anywhere. For example, at a hospital, at a club, or at your home, a day program, work, or at college. And there's probably, and if you have any other examples that you know of, it would be good for everyone to know, but it can happen anywhere. It's something that unfortunately happens more than it ever should. All right. So the next part is all right. If you think you are being abused, tell someone you trust, like someone you work with or the police. And someone you work with, I mean, it could be at your job or it could be at program, but someone that you know well. But someone you trust. Depending on who it is doing the abusing, I understand, it's kind of a difficult thing. Okay. So last page. Or you can also speak to, there's a name of a person or organization. So, definitely know the phone numbers of everybody at program, especially the program coordinators. You can call them on their personal cell phones, because that's kind of how Inroads works. You can write to them or you can email them. All of us, it's basically our first name for email and our last name. So, I mean, not our first name, but our first initial and then our last name. So mine's D Hiller vistability.org. So if you have any questions, and you feel more comfortable emailing me, then you can always do that. And also you could text me. You could text anybody depending on what your comfort level is. And then if nothing happens when it comes to that, you can always call the police department, or write to them, or email them, and I will, I'll send out. I mean, there's the, Richmond PD, and you can always reach out to them, as usually that's what's closest to us. But we all have cell phones, so look up numbers if you feel this way. If you feel like things are still just not going the way they're supposed to, and they'll actually come and do what they're supposed to. And you can also speak with, of course, your case managers, and you have their emails. You could write to them, you could text them, and you can always email them. The regional center takes these things very seriously, as everyone at Inroads does, everyone at Vistability does. And so, make sure that you reach out and let somebody know if you feel like, there's some sort of abuse going on, and what kind it is, and what's happened, and be able to explain the situation to them, the best way possible. But I want you to all be safe. I want to make sure that you know what your rights are, but also what types of abuses could happen. And, again, just be safe. I miss you. Hope to see you all soon. Okay, this has been class for today. Bye for now.